On the grid, ready for the start of the 1992 Formula One season. Nigel Mansell claiming the 18th pole position of his career. Alongside him on the front row, the McLaren of Ayrton Senna. On row 2, McLaren Gerhard Berger, Williams Riccardo Patrese. There's the red light, there's the green. Good start by Mansell, even better by Patrese from row 2, bursting between the two McLarens and right onto the tail of his teammate Nigel Mansell. Berger slipping back, already been taken by the Ferrari of Jean Alesi, and the Benetton of Michael Schumacher going past Berger. So the second McLaren slipping well back down the order in just the first few metres of the 1992 season. Alesi and Schumacher running together, then Berger, the march of Karl Wendlinger, the young Austrian driver, making his debut for March in Formula One motor racing. He's right up there, right on the tail of Gerhard Berger as the 26-car field threads its way round the first of these 72 laps at Kyalami. 2.6-mile circuit, twisting and turning, very demanding track compared with the previous Kyalami. This a new purpose-built circuit. Mansell already opening up a significant gap between himself and teammate Riccardo Patrese. Brundle in trouble, facing the wrong way down the track after some sort of altercation with the Tyrrell of Andrea De Cesaris. And Brundle's Benetton lucky to emerge unscathed. Now in trouble here, that's Dallara, and it's Pierluigi Martini spread-eagled across the track at that corner. And completing the first lap over the head of the field, Nigel Mansell, with Senna down in third place, being harried by Alesi and Schumacher. And then comes Senna's teammate Gerhard Berger with the second Ferrari of Ivan Capelli running well just behind Gerhard Berger's McLaren. Mansell with a clear track in front of him. Superb start. Mansell having been dominant throughout the weekend, fastest in practice and in qualifying. Returned from his home, which is now in Clearwater in Florida, returned to Grand Prix racing a few pounds lighter and extremely fit and extremely determined. And disappointment for the March. That's Karl Wendlinger's first Grand Prix for them over. His car has failed and he's sidelined. Wendlinger had high hopes of a points position after starting from the fourth row. This is Gerhard Berger occupying sixth place. Ahead of him, Schumacher in the Benetton and Alesi in the Ferrari. Oh, and out Fondmetal's number 15, Gabriele Tarquini, the Italian driver, crawling to a halt at the side of the track, and a Ferrari in trouble here. This looks like Capelli. It is number 28, Ivan Capelli, the Italian recruited from Leighton House at the end of last year in his first drive for Ferrari, and that ends in the very early stages of the South African Grand Prix. Disappointment for Capelli. Senna searching for the pace to match the Williams up ahead. Gone past Gugelmin in the Jordan. And 30, Katayama in the Venturi Lamborghini in trouble. That's the Japanese driver on his debut Grand Prix. Started from the 9th row of the grid and has not improved his position as yet. And Jean Alesi, the second Ferrari goes. The engine smoking badly there. And the new Ferrari, its initial Grand Prix, finished in a cloud of smoke. Disappointment for Jean Alesi. 23, Christian Fittipaldi's debut Grand Prix for Minardi finishes. Andrea De Cesaris is out in the Tyrrell. De Cesaris being wheeled back into the garage. And JJ Leto in the Dallara Ferrari. That car finishing its race at the side of the track too. So with Alesi gone, number 19, the Benetton of Michael Schumacher assumes fourth position. And he's on course for the best finish of his Grand Prix career. The Lotus, Johnny Herbert's Lotus number 12, running well too, and he's now in a point scoring position. He's in sixth place. And Herbert will be delighted with that after his blank no scoring effort during 1991. But Herbert's expected to complete a full season in Grand Prix racing this year for Lotus. Peter Collins at Lotus, a great believer in Herbert's talent and ability that was restricted somewhat after his accident in Formula 3000. Here's Gerhard Berger for McLaren. Berger is 5th, says the sign, but it doesn't mention that he's in the Big Mac. Gerhard Berger in the second McLaren, and out of the race 24, the second Minardi Lamborghini of Gianni Morbidelli. That being wheeled away, and a real race of attrition. So many cars falling by the wayside. It's Senna running in 3rd place. Up ahead of him, Riccardo Patrese. That's Thierry Boutsen, the Belgian driver for Ligier. Number 25 crawls to a halt. And so yet another big name out of the South African Grand Prix. Still running, Ayrton Senna. McLaren number 1 in 3rd place. Once again coming across his great friend and Brazilian compatriot Mauricio Gugelmin in the Jordan number 33. Oh, another one out. Dallara Ferrari. Pierluigi Martini, the driver, already out of the cockpit as that's wheeled back into the pit garage. So Senna proceeds his rather lonely way now in 3rd place. Patrese up ahead of him running 2nd. And Nigel Mansell way out in the wild blue yonder, leading the race as he has since the green light. There's Riccardo Patrese just ahead of the Ligier of Eric Comas. No doubt a delighted Frank Williams down there in the pits. His car's running 1st and 2nd in the opening Grand Prix of the 1992 season. There's Riccardo Patrese, the Williams number 6. Right behind him, Eric Comas in the Ligier. And Patrese, the most experienced man in Grand Prix racing. This is his 225th Grand Prix. And here's Ayrton Senna in his 127th. The difference being Senna has won 3 World Championships. Senna has Comas between himself and 2nd place Riccardo Patrese. Here comes Senna, characteristic head tilted on one side as he sweeps into that left-hander. There's the race leader, Nigel Mansell. Mansell in his 166th Grand Prix, in his 2nd year with Williams after returning from Ferrari. This is 2nd spell at the Didcot-based team. And this year starting so superbly. Mansell dominating practice, qualifying, and now the race. "38 years old, he's the eldest man in Grand Prix racing now, but probably one of the fittest. Spent the winter working out at his new house in Clearwater, Florida, and has returned to the Grand Prix scene for this year, totally and utterly determined to achieve his dream of clinching the World Championship. Olivier Gruillard in the Tyrrell, limping along with a smoking engine. That could prove hazardous. Mika Hakkinen in the Lotus goes past him. Here's the other Lotus at Johnny Herbert in 6th place, getting through. Gruillard doing the right thing and staying well to the side of the track. If he does want to keep going, probably be a lot safer for all concerned if he just pulled off at this point. There's Patrese moving through comfortably and safely, and Nigel Mansell smoothly and unhurried, keeping his position right at the head of the field, on course for 10 championship points. Red 5 on the nose of the Williams Renault. A number that's become so familiar over the last 12 months or so. Mansell chasing after that elusive World Championship title, denied by Ayrton Senna at the penultimate race of the season in Japan last year. This time determined to go one better than runner-up in the Drivers' Championship. Tremendous start on the new 2.6 mile circuit of Kyalami. Some 80,000 spectators packing the grandstands. Yellow flag waves because of a hazard at the side of the track, which looks as though it could well be Olivier Gruillard's Tyrrell. Smoking and left stranded at the side there. But Mansell proceeding in his unhurried, unflustered way, just coaxing the Williams round and through and on towards the checkered flag. Nigel Mansell in peerless form throughout the weekend. There's the end of Gruyère's Tyrrell, eventually pushed to safety over that gravel and sand trap. So now there should be nothing to worry Nigel Mansell in his quest for maximum points here at Kyalami. Bulk of the spectators supporting the Florida-based Englishman. In fact, everybody from Formula One receiving a huge welcome from the big crowd, all of them delighted to see an international event of this magnitude back in South Africa. 1985, the last Grand Prix at Kyalami, it was won by Nigel Mansell in a Williams. And South Africa without a Grand Prix driver of their own. The last one, of course, was Jody Scheckter, who won here in 1975 in a Tyrrell and won the World Championship for Ferrari in 1979. So if they can't cheer a South African, they'll do the next best thing, and that's Nigel Mansell in a Williams. Tremendous start to the season by Mansell and by Williams, proving that they put all that intensive winter testing to good use. Damon Hill, son of the late Graham Hill, former world champion, the man who's done the bulk of their work during the winter, and it looks as though it's going to be Nigel Mansell and Riccardo Patrese who capitalise on it during the Grand Prix season. Semi-automatic gearbox on the Williams, and of course they're using their revolutionary reactive suspension, and so far at least in the opening race of the season it appears that everything has run absolutely perfectly. What a contrast to a year ago when nothing seemed to be going right in the opening 4 races of the season for Williams at all. Plenty of teething troubles culminating in that embarrassing full stop to Nigel Mansell's race when leading in Canada right up to the last few hundred yards of the last lap. Suddenly the Williams cuts out and he's left stranded at the side of the track as Piquet takes advantage and swept through to victory. Everybody down in the Williams pit, fingers crossed and just praying that nothing like that happens on this occasion. Riccardo Patrese running in second place, but still with the threat of Ayrton Senna to overcome. There's the 2 Lotuses just ahead of him, and Senna now with Patrese in his sights. Remember what the Grand Prix drivers think when they sit in the cockpit. If you can see the man in front, then you've got an opportunity of getting on terms and passing him. Now Riccardo Patrese might be able to put the 2 Lotuses to good use, keeping them between himself and third placed Ayrton Senna. So there's Patrese running in second position in the Williams number 6. Just up ahead of him is Johnny Herbert. In between Patrese and Ayrton Senna is the number 11 Lotus of the Finn Mika Hakkinen, who made his debut in Formula One motor racing for Lotus at the start of last year. So Senna coming through and past Mika Hakkinen, and now he can start to close on Riccardo Patrese, who's still tucked in there just behind Johnny Herbert. So Senna with Patrese in his sights, and just a slight little twitch of the McLaren as he encountered that left-hander. Patrese goes through past Johnny Herbert. Herbert content to let him do so, and Patrese can now start putting a bit of ground between himself and Senna. One of the footworks locks up going into that left-hander. Here comes Patrese. There's Senna. Senna closing all the time with Herbert in between second and third positions. Herbert running in 6th place, on course for a championship point. And Senna wanting to get as close as he can to Nigel Mansell in this opening race of the season, knows that he can't match him for pace and power, but he might be able to keep the difference in points down to a minimum. First, though, he's got to get past Riccardo Patrese. Whole clutch of back markers, just holding up second and third place. View over the right shoulder of the defending world champion, using every inch of this 2.6 mile circuit to full advantage. Wily fox of a driver now, Ayrton Senna. Bags of experience, knows how to win a race, has got into the groove, into the habit of doing that, and knows how to stay out of trouble. Looking there as the Brabham of Eric van der Poel, the Belgian, just cuts across his bows. Senna knows that Van der Poel has seen him and sweeps down the inside, takes him at that left-hander, crosses start and finish, the grid markings down there on the track. Pat grandstands away to the right, pits on the left, once again into the right and left, heading up towards a maximum of 155 miles an hour around Kyalami, which is not particularly quick for a Formula One car. But then again, it's not a terrifically slow circuit like the streets of Monaco. The other thing, of course, being up on the high veld, some 5,000 feet above sea level, is that the air is quite rarefied, and both driver and car sometimes are left a little bit breathless when working hard, just as Senna is now. In pursuit of Riccardo Patrese. Would definitely love to finish second, Senna, if he possibly could, because then he would be in a real position to attack later in the season when the new McLaren comes along. At the moment, the revitalised Williams, with that Renault engine pumping out full power, looks completely dominant. This is Nigel Mansell, race leader, looking on course for his 22nd career victory. The Union Jacks are out once again. They're saluting. Terrific performance by the Williams #1 driver. Brentford on that particular Union Jack. I'm not sure that Nigel Mansell will understand the significance of that, but he has indeed kicked off his 1992 season in terrific style. Crowd on its feet now, saluting a magnificent performance by Mansell, led from the green light every inch of the way. Superb, commanding drive from him, and the team and indeed all the Williams supporters will be delighted with that. But whether Nigel Mansell, definite born racer, will be quite as pleased that he's been so dominant without having the opportunity to race and overtake and battle wheel to wheel. There's the wave of delight as he sees the checkered flag. Nigel Mansell, an overjoyed Frank Williams down in the pits, waiting for his drivers to come home first and second. There's Riccardo Patrese being pursued by Ayrton Senna in the latter stages of the race, but he's going to make it over the line in second place. So Williams claim first and second, and the lead in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Ayrton Senna has to be content with third place and 4 points. So it's Mansell first, Patrese second, Senna third, and in fourth place, the Benetton Ford of Michael Schumacher. The 23-year-old German coming home for the best finish of his short career. But what a win for Nigel Mansell.